What up, what up, what up, what up? How y'all doing today? How y'all doing today? Happy Wednesday, you know what I mean? Happy Wednesday. How y'all doing? Trying to get this mouse to work. There we go. My mouse on my computer was trying to act up a little bit. Oh no. Alright, still acting up. Hold on. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Trying to see, is it the... Alright, yeah, I think it just was a dead battery. Whatever. What's good with y'all? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Hawks Hoops, your weekly NBA live show. Happens every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have to say Eastern now because it turns out I find out my boy Serge is in is he in Serbia? My boy Serge is in Serbia. I got another guy who hit me up today, said he's in London. And I'm like, oh, yo, this is really, really, really dope. So, you know what I mean? We got to say the Eastern part now because there's people all over the world tuning in, which is dope. Carrick, what's good, man? How you doing? All right. I had to switch out the batteries. They was low. We got a lot to talk about today, guys. Should be a really, really fun episode. I would be looking forward. Why is my mouse deciding tonight to act up? I'm really looking forward to today's episode. Should be a fun one. Should be a good one. I gotta get better at being ready when the show starts. I'm always half scrambling these first about 2 minutes to get all my ducks in a row. I appreciate y'all rocking with your boy, you feel me? All right. All right. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about on the docket tonight. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hop right in. You know what I mean? We're just gonna hop right in as people join the chat, as people pull up, people continue to join the stream. It's always appreciated. But we got a lot on the docket today, so we're gonna go ahead and try to hop right into this. Hold on, my fault. I'm just, like I said, y'all know I'll be struggling when I get started. What you mean internet required, Google? It's clearly internet. Alright, yeah, that's the Wi-Fi. Alright, well, that's gonna work eventually. I don't know when it's gonna work, but it's gonna work, you know what I mean? Elan? I'm gonna tell you right now, when you pull up to the stream, if you're new, first off, Elan, I'm not good with reading names. It's a flaw. It's a big flaw of mine. I'm not the best, but thank you for pulling up to the stream. How you doing today? So we're gonna go ahead and dive right in, because like I was saying, we have a lot, and I mean a lot that I want to cover today. Got a couple of just, random NBA news that popped up at the end of the day, like just earlier today, within the last couple of hours. Rage, what's good, man? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. So, first things first. There's two things. So pissed about that 76ers game. GG, bro. GG. Yeah, Sixers play Lakers tonight, right? And Bron's not playing. Yeah, that should be a Sixers win. It was a really good impressive Sixers win against the Miami Heat without Joel Embiid and James Harden. I was impressed by that. I was really, really impressed by that. Westbrook clutch. Yeah, Westbrook had a really, really big moment in that game against I be remembering the moments and I be watching these games. But then when I go to think who was that game against, I just remember Westbrook. I mean, that's the confidence of Westbrook. You know what I mean? That's just the confidence of, you know how they say shooter's mentality? That Westbrook clutch play was 100% shooter's mentality. He shoots a three, horrible miss, gets a steal, stops, and then immediately shoots another three. Cash. Confidence. I don't even know if I would have the confidence to do something like that, but we was talking about West Bricky, West Splash now. Oh, Kerrick, you're a Warriors fan? Elliot, you're a Warriors fan? Warriors fans, we're going to talk about y'all on the stream. Not y'all as in y'all, but we going to... Oh, it was against the Raptors. Thanks, Rach. We're going to talk about the Warriors in the stream, but at the top of the show, I want to give a quick shout out to LeBron James. I made a little TikTok about it the other day. Well, actually, earlier today it came out. You know, just congratulated him on his now being second all-time in regular season scoring. And I made the point to just, it wasn't no hate to the greats. It wasn't no hate to Kareem. It wasn't no hate to Carl. It was just, hey, something to point of note. Those two guys played with some of the best playmakers in NBA history. Some guys who was, you know, really helping set them up for some easy baskets. Not taking away from their skill, not taking away from the fact that it's not like these guys weren't people who had their own moves of their own. And I mean, so many people were just angry at me congratulating LeBron James on literally becoming second place in all-time scoring. But shout out to LeBron. It's really, really dope. He's the only player actually to have 30,000 points, 10K rebounds, and 10K assists. Just longevity, man. Longevity is LeBron James's best asset. And I don't even mean that as disrespect. He has so many other things that he's good at, but longevity is his best asset, which is crazy. But the big news of the day, we got to get into it. The big news of the day, the thing that I lost my mind when I'm not going to say I lost my mind, but I was shocked when I saw this. Let me pull it up because I ain't got my... Kyrie Irving can now play home games in Brooklyn. Shams tweeted earlier today, literally at 6:30, an hour and a half ago. Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving will be cleared for home games as New York City will, on Thursday, change the private sector vaccine mandate to allow exemption for athletes and entertainers in workplace. Unvaccinated Yankees and Mets players are also now eligible to play home games. Y'all, Kyrie Irving is back. Now, I think this couldn't have came at a more perfect time for the Nets. It really could not have come at a more perfect time. They needed Kyrie to be able to play in these home games. They really did. They have a bunch of home games coming up to end out the regular season. And granted, to be honest with you, they're against some not great teams. Like the Nets are about to look really, really, really good over the next couple of games. Let me just pull this up for you guys, so you can see what I'm talking about when I say how good the Nets are about to look over these next couple of weeks to end out the rest of the regular season. So right now, we all know the Nets are 8th in the West as of right now, 8th in the West, and at 38 and 34. But when we look at their schedule coming up, the teams who they play coming up tonight, they have a game against the Grizzlies. That's probably going to be a really, really good game. Right now, the Grizzlies are up 37-29. They have the Nets, another solid team. They're playing that in Miami. But that Hornets game with Kyrie at home, W. Pistons, W. Bucks, now at home with Kyrie. It's going to be a really, really good game. But if you asked me before, I probably would have said the Bucks are going to win. But now with Kyrie, it can go either way. Hawks should be a W. That's in Atlanta, but still should be a W. The Nets are a better team, in my opinion. Nets at home against the Rockets, W. Nets versus Knicks, also New York, should be a W. Nets at home versus the Cavs, should be a W. Nets at home against the Pacers, should be another W. Guys, listen, I'm telling you right now, mark my words. Mark my words right now. We're about to hear a lot of Nets are going to the finals. Nets are scary. You know, we're going to start to see the scary hours, stuff like that. And this ain't even me hating. I'm so excited to see Kyrie actually being able to play basketball finally. So excited to see him play. Rage says Ben Simmons probably still won't play this season. Honestly, at this rate, I don't think we're going to see him at all. I don't think we're going to see him at all. We had the news come out last week that he had the epidural shot. Then it turns out that he has a herniated disc. And once you start getting into that territory with stuff wrong with your vertebrae and you start having herniated disc issues and stuff like that, you don't play around with that. You know what I mean? That stuff can potentially take a while to heal. That's the type of stuff that could potentially require surgery to fix. Like, that's the type of territory you get into when you start talking about herniated discs. My stepdad actually had a herniated disc last year, and he had to get surgery for it. They tried physical therapy. They tried to get it back into place just through therapy, training, doctors, stuff like that. It didn't work. Now, my stepdad's not a NBA elite athlete like Ben Simmons is, so maybe his body can recover a little bit better naturally, if you will, without requiring surgery. But I don't see him coming back at all this season, because either it's going to take a long road through personal training or he's going to have to get surgery, and that is going to take even longer. That's going to take even longer. Rage, I agree. Ben having a herniated disc at the age of 25 is bad. Ben Simmons is still just 25? That's wild. Wait. Ben Simmons' age? He's really still just 25? Yeah, that's crazy. Man, listen. Ben Simmons, 25 years old, 3 years younger than me, and makes so much money. Life ain't fair. Yeah, herniated discs are usually people in their 30s, people in their 40s, like you said. And Carolwick and Rage, we gonna talk about Zion. He's on. Y'all know I'm a Zion guy. Y'all know for a fact I'm a Zion guy. He's definitely on my list of guys to talk about this evening. Hold on. So in terms of where I think the Nets can go from here, right? I just said how easy their schedule is going to look, or how easy their schedule looks. At least to me, their schedule looks really, really easy going forward. And with Kyrie being back playing at home games, it's the perfect time for him to come back, because it'll give them the opportunity to get consistent reps. And honestly, we've seen it over these last couple of weeks. Kyrie dropped at 50, then he drops to 60. He's just looked so poised. He's looked so efficient. He looks just fluid when he's playing and the away games that he's played. But now the team has the opportunity to get him really integrated into the system, to get the other guys really used to playing with him, and to really ramp up and get good going into the playoffs. The Nets are about to be really, really, really scary. I'm telling you right now, them second seed teams, they don't want to see the Nets in the first round. No one wanted to really see the Nets in the first round beforehand, when Kyrie potentially couldn't play in home games. So you might have had him just for 4 games. But with Kyrie available, it opens so much for the Nets. It really does. It really opens up so much for the Nets. And I think we're going to finally see them be the team we expected them to be going into the season. Now, granted, of course, they don't have James Harden. Because initially, we thought we had a 3-headed monster with KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. But just the dynamic duo of KD and Kyrie is honestly has potential to be the best duo in the league. It really does have the potential to be that type of energy. The best duo in the league. That's how good these players are. They're absolutely scary. And circling back to the Ben Simmons situation, because I saw Rage say people don't understand how serious of an injury that is. I agree. A lot of people don't. And I think I even saw some people saying that they were curious if he was still essentially capping, because the whole situation that happened in Philadelphia, and it's usually Philly fans that are saying he's capping, that he's lying, which is understandable. They're mad. I get it. And they didn't necessarily believe his injury at first. They were saying he just wants to sit out. It's a mental health thing, whatever. And honestly, even if it was a mental health thing or whatever, that can, in my opinion, that should still be taken seriously. But now when it's coming out that it's an actual herniated disc, that's a real injury. And regardless of how I feel about a player, of how they left the situation, or how they left a team, or how they're performing on or off the court, I hate injuries in the NBA. I like the NBA too much to be happy to see a player injured. Like, I think I like just watching good basketball more than I'm a Sixers fan. Because at the end of the day, I mean, my boys would say it all the time. They'd be like, Hawk, you ain't even really a Sixers fan, because they'll hear me rooting for this team. They'll hear me rooting for that team. It's because I just really like basketball. I really like watching NBA basketball. So I hate injuries. I really, really do. I wish Ben Simmons was healthy, because I agree. If Ben Simmons was on this team, you know how good this team would look if he was healthy, playing like Ben Simmons was playing last year before the playoffs. And yes, Rage, why would you fake it herniated disc out of all the injuries to fake? And that's what I said before. Why would he fake an epidural shot? Why would you get an epidural shot if you don't need an epidural shot? That was just my 2 cents on the whole situation. But shout out to the Nets. Your team does not want to face them. The Heat, they don't want to see them in the first round. The Bucks, they don't want to see them in the first round. I'm not saying there's immediate sweeps either. Like, I'm not saying the Heat have no shot. I'm not saying the Bucks have no shot. I'm not even saying the Sixers have no shot of beating the Nets. But what I am saying is that's just not the type of matchup you want in the first round. It's going to be great for us as fans to watch something like that. It's going to be amazing. Absolutely amazing for us to watch as fans. But somebody going to go home disappointed. Some fan base, some teams, some players, somebody's going to go home disappointed. All right, next on the docket we have, what do we have? All right, next on the docket, I want to talk about the Warriors. I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors, because nothing is making sense to me about this Warriors team. Like, nothing is making sense to me. The Warriors team were looking really, really good earlier in the season. I liked what I was seeing. They were looking absolutely unstoppable when Draymond Green was there. Draymond goes down in January. They start looking bad. They start looking really, really bad. They start losing a lot of games. They're not looking as good as they had in the past. Now you got Steph Curry injured. It's going to be out for a while. A lot of people were having a conversation, was Marcus Smart's play a dirty play? I don't think it was dirty. Marcus Smart, the injury that he did to Steph, I don't think was dirty. I saw a lot of people telling me what he did to Clay was dirty. I'll be honest, I didn't get to catch that full game, and I haven't had the opportunity to go back and look at whatever happened between Marcus Smart and Klay Thompson, so I don't really necessarily have a full opinion on that, because I just didn't see it, to be honest with you. But in the last 10, the Warriors are 4-6. Now, mind you, Steph's only missed 2.5 games, I want to say. By this point, he's only missed about 2.5 games. It's not like he's been out at all the time. Now, when Steph was asked about his timeline, this is what he had to say about it. When Steph was recently asked about his return. Oh, now the video don't want to play? Don't tell me the video don't want to play now. I just watched the video. All right, there we go. Steph was asked about his return. I want to say it was earlier today, or he was asked on the 21st. He was asked about his return. First time he was talking to the media since the injury, and this is what he had to say about it.
What do you think?
Let me pull it up for you.
Or what are you being told? Maybe like is a realistic, timetable to get back.
I mean, that 2 weeks is kind of the marker just to know how it's healing, and from what I'm told, just in terms of the ligaments around the injury and the bone that's kind of underneath there, you want to not rush the beginning phases of healing, because that's where you can get the most progress, so that when you do, put the shoe back on, get back on the court, get reps, that you're not dealing with crazy soreness or anything, and you give yourself a better shot, because this is one, I guess, if you push it too soon, it can linger and be a real nuisance. And so obviously anything with your foot, your ankle, anywhere down there, you want to be, I say cautious, but just because you don't want that to be something that lingers when you get back out there on the floor.
I assume your belief, though, is like playoff game 1, round 1.
I think I got enough time for that, but I'm an optimist, so.
You can see.
So, hey, man, Cam, what's up? What's good with you, Cam? Thanks for pulling up to the stream. So, as you can see, the way it's looking right now, it's looking like Steph. They're projecting first round in the playoffs. That's everything I've been reading. You heard the reporter just ask Steph himself. So we're looking at first round game 1, and he said that's the goal. He said he's obviously a little more optimistic, and I think the Warriors are in trouble. I hate to say it, and he could come back and he starts looking as he could come back. Excuse me. And start looking as the TNT guys say, Steffortless. And it could be the Warriors could be a well-oiled machine again, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and we'll enjoy watching it anyway. But as of right now, I'm worried about the Warriors. I just am. I think you have to been a little time, wasn't able to come back to the stream for the last couple of weeks. Hey man, it's all good. I appreciate you for pulling up today though. Know what I mean? The support, it's always appreciated, bro. In the next couple of weeks, the Warriors have, I just don't know how many games they're going to win. I really don't. When you look at the standings, and y'all know me, I love this. It's probably the most famous screen that be on here because that's how I see things. When you look at the standings, the Warriors are already 4-6 in the last 10. They're third in the West. The Grizzlies just recently took over their number 2 spot. The Jazz have been playing well, as you can see, 6-4. In my opinion, the Mavericks are playing amazing right now, 7-3. They're not too far behind them. You got to start asking the question of how many games are the Warriors going to slip? How many games are the Warriors going to slide? Because Steph Curry, and I've gone on record before and talked about how much I love Draymond Green and how much he brings to that team and how much they missed him when he was gone. But I hope everyone realizes, and we all understand here, that Steph Curry is what makes the engine go. Steph Curry is the real offense. He is the system. Steph Curry is the system. He is the Warriors system. Exactly. Y'all lost to the Magic. That wasn't a good, like, when we're looking at what's going on, yeah, this Magic game was bad. And they're playing the Heat tonight. They're up right now. But it's not like the Warriors have the easiest schedule moving forward. That game against the Hawks, it's going to be a tough game. The Hawks are playing better right now. Trae Young's probably going to go crazy. He's coming off a really good week just against the Knicks the other night. Playing against the Wizards. Wizards are a bad team. That should be a win for you guys. Grizzlies, tough team. Suns, tough team. Jazz, tough team. Kings, that's a must win. Like, that's where the Warriors are. That's a must win. Lakers, that's up in the air. It's crazy as it is to say. The Lakers could wet the bed and have a terrible game, or LeBron could say, I want 50 against the Warriors. Then you ended the season against the Spurs and the Pelicans, but I'm worried about these Warriors. And I think the main reason is, it's a couple of reasons. One, obviously, Steph's out. We don't know an official timeline because even like he just said, he's being reevaluated in 2 weeks, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be cleared. So what if he's not cleared for the first round? Are the Warriors first round exits? Like, these are the type of questions that I've been having lately. And, Rage says Klay Thompson is a sample. So we'll start with him. We'll start the conversation with Klay Thompson and how I've been feeling about him. He's just up and down. And it sucks. It really does. He's been up and down so much. Because he's had games where he's looked like Klay Thompson. He has. But then he's had games where he's 1 for 8 from 3 and he's 1 for 10 from 3 or 2 for 12 from 3. And he looks like a shell of himself. He's not as fast on defense. Like, he's forcing up shots sometimes. And I don't want to put it too much on Klay, make it seem like I'm bashing Klay, because honestly, it's understandable. The man hasn't played basketball in 2 years. Between his injuries, COVID breaking up the season, like that, we got to think about this. Klay Thompson hadn't played since 2019. And that finals against the Raptors, that's when he got his initial injuries. So it's just been a really, really long time since he's been on the floor. So it's understandable that he's being up and down. I think a great example of that is what's happening currently with Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie had an ACL tear. Comes back, playing for the Wizards. He looked amazing when he was on the Nets. We all loved Spencer Dinwiddie when he was on the Nets. We loved him playing alongside with D'Lo. And he gets his ACL injury, starts playing for the Washington Wizards, and looks like a shell of himself. Everyone's like, yo, what is going on? Spencer looks terrible. What is going on? And then that trade happens. Spencer and Damas Bertans for Kristaps Porzingis. And even myself, I'm like, what are the Mavericks doing? They just must not like KP because there's no value in Spencer anymore because he's a shell of himself. And just like that, now, maybe it just took him some time. Maybe he needed a new situation, but it also could have been he was still somewhat recovering from his ACL injury. And now that he feels more like himself, we're seeing Spencer Dinwiddie look like Spencer Dinwiddie again. We just might not see Clay look like Clay this season. This might be, the rest of this season just might be him still warming up, him still getting back to used to being on the court. Unless somehow the Warriors go on a deep playoff run, and then maybe by then he'll have had more time and he starts to look more like himself later on in the playoffs. But I think what we're seeing right now, what we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks since he's been back, what we've been seeing for the last month really since he's been back, is I think he's still up and down and recovering from that injury. And I don't mean recovering as in potentially still pain and things like that. I don't really know that. I haven't seen anything where he was saying, he's been still dealing with pain and things like that. I just mean getting back used to playing NBA level basketball. Because you can practice all you want, you can scrimmage all you want, you can run fives with your teammates all you want, but players have said it before, it's just different when you're on the court, when the lights are bright, when the fans are in the stands, when you're actually playing against other NBA players going full speed. It's just a little different. So Clay just might need a little more time to get used to playing up to those speeds. Kerouic says it's over for if he's not back for round one. I agree. If Steph Curry doesn't play in round one, as good as the Western Conference is, I don't know. I don't see a world where they come out on top. I just don't. I don't know how. I don't see it because they'd end up playing as of right now. They'd end up playing the Nuggets, and I think the Nuggets could beat the Warriors if they don't have Steph Curry. I really do. Cam says if Steph ain't ready for round one, they're possibly a first round exit. Morgan, hey, thanks for pulling up to the stream. I am doing good. How are you today? And then the other piece I want to talk about when talking about the Golden State Warriors, because I've been seeing this a lot lately, because it's another guy who's in shambles. That I don't really have another word for it. Is Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, and he's been getting, NBA Twitter has been tearing him a new one. There's been conversations of, is he the worst all-star starter in NBA history? People are saying he should have never been a starter in the first place. People are saying he never even should have been an all-star in the first place. And I get it to an extent. Should he have been a starter? Probably not, right? Was it fan voting that got him in there? Yes. Did a K-pop star, don't ask me which one, I'm not really into K-pop, but I just know a K-pop star was a huge fan of Andrew Wiggins, put out a tweet or something like that, at least let his fans know, his or her, like I'm saying, I really don't. I just know it's a K-pop star. Let their fans know that they're fans of Wiggins, and next thing you know, Wiggins is an all-star starter. And I can see the argument for people saying, well, maybe he shouldn't have been an all-star starter. Maybe he should have been an all-star starter. But you can't say Wiggins should have never been an all-star, period. And this is why. Wiggins was having a good year, y'all, before All-Star game. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. Like, we were liking Wiggins. Wiggins was almost felt like on like a redemption tour, almost. Like, he finally looked like he could contribute to winning basketball. He finally was showing, honestly, actual value on the basketball court. For years, a lot of people were just calling his numbers empty stats. And this is the context of what Wiggins' numbers were before All-Star break. I just realized my music's gone. So before All-Star break, now mind you, All-Star game was February 22nd. So this is before February 20th. He was averaging 14 points a game, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. 17.7. This is before All-Star break. 17 points a game, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 48% from the field, 41% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game. Now, one big thing that a lot of people kept knocking on him is like, I wish he would rebound more. He's what is Wiggins? 6'8", 6'7", 6'8". So 4 rebounds a game. A lot of people were like, I wish he would rebound a little bit more. But since All-Star break, I don't know what's happening to him. 14 points a game, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. He decided to rebound a little bit better because I guess he figured, let me impact the game in some other way. But he's 38% from the field, 30% from 3 on them still 5.5 attempts. 30% from 3 is wild. That's a 10%. That's a 10% drop off. It's an 11% drop off technically, if we want to be real. So I get a lot of people being mad at his play, a lot of people being disappointed in his play, even because he's not looking good. He's not looking like himself. But for people to say he should have never been an all-star, for people to say he didn't deserve to be an all-star, to be the worst all-star in NBA history, I'll give you worst starter in NBA history. I might give you that one. I'm sure if somebody wanted to be nitpicky, you could probably find somebody worse. I don't feel like doing that deep of a dive. So I'll give you worst starter, or one of the worst starters. But to say he doesn't deserve to be an all-star altogether, to me, it's a little unfair because you got to think of who was available. He was having a good year, 17 points, 48% from the field, 40% from 3. Those are good numbers. And considering players like Paul George is eligible because of injury, Kawhi is ineligible because of injury, Anthony Davis was ineligible because of injury. If those 3 guys are eligible, he's obviously not making it. I think we can all agree on that. But since they weren't there, he gets the nod. I don't know what's going on with the Warriors. I really think they got to figure something out. But until Steph comes back, I don't think there's an answer. And it really does suck because the Warriors' big 3 hadn't played a game together in 1,000 days. Over 1,000 days. Like I said, Klay Thompson hadn't played for over 2 years. Basically about 2.5. Yeah, they hadn't played. Klay Thompson hadn't played for 2 years. Steph was out a little bit in the year prior. The year after. So him and Draymond, they didn't play together, the 3 of them, for 1,000 days. And they played together for a game and a half, and now Klay's out. It's just not. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Let's look at these comments real quick. Karawick, in your opinion, are your Sixers title contenders? That's a loaded question. So here's my answer, because it's not as simple as yes or no for me, to be honest with you. And it might you could say I'm copping out, but this is my answer. A lot of it predicates on what version of James Harden are we gonna get in the playoffs. If we get the James Harden who we saw in those first about 4 games, I could say we could be title contenders. If we get the James Harden who's moving off the ball a lot, who's catching open threes or driving to the rim and creating for others. He's still doing the creating process, so I won't say that, because even in some of James Harden's bad games where we look up and he's shooting like 38% from the field that game, he might still have somewhere between 9 and 12 assists. So he's still setting up other players, which is nice, because I don't think we had someone like that on our team all year. We didn't necessarily have a primary playmaker to make easy baskets for others. So I think the Sixers are contenders, but they're not my favorite. They're not. And my favorite, honestly, Kyrie back being healthy, it might be the Nets. But earlier in the season and for most of the season, my favorite was still the Milwaukee Bucks. Got to include the Heat in there as well. Those are probably my 4 title contenders to come out the East. And I feel like it's a lot to say you have 4 teams as your title contenders. But those are the 4 teams I can see potentially make it out of the Eastern Conference. I think the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be a combination of those 4 teams. And the series before, those teams are going to have to go through each other to get to the finals. Like, they're going to have to play each other to get there. So one of those 4 out of the Eastern Conference, I can see being finals contenders. Morgan, going back to the Warriors conversation, Wiggins just fell off so bad since the All-Star game. It's really strange because he did deserve to be an All-Star. He was playing really well. Because he's been bad, it's easy to say he didn't deserve it. I agree. I 100% agree with that. Karawick says the Suns are his pick. The Suns are my pick as well. Out of the Western Conference, if you'd ask me who I think is just going to flat out win it, it's the Suns. I love Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's my guy. I love watching Kyrie Irving play. The Suns are, to me, the most complete team in the NBA right now. Head to toe, front to back. Up and down the roster, they're the most complete team in the NBA. They know how to close out games. They have multiple guys who can close out games. They have multiple guys who play amazing defense. DeAndre Ayton is about to get paid this offseason because he's looking absolutely amazing. The Suns are personally my pick to win it all. Okay, so since we're talking about the playoffs, the next thing on the docket that I want to continue on. Y'all see me sliding, right? Y'all see this? Y'all didn't see me fight with this chair. I need to clearly invest in a new chair. Cause y'all see me sliding. I would take the Lakers if AD is healthy. Cam, I'm not mad at that. I think the Lakers are an interesting story. I'll tie it into why we talk about the play-in tournament. So I was looking at the NBA standings. Once again, we're going to pull up my favorite screen, y'all. NBA standings. I'm looking at these NBA standings, right? And we're talking about the play-in. And I'm looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are the 7th seed, who are technically right now involved in the play-in. The Minnesota Timberwolves are right behind the Nuggets. They're sitting 42-31. The Lakers, the first team in the play-in tournament, are a solid 11 games behind them. I was basically just interested in the conversation of having, do we need to rethink the play-in tournament? Does there need to be some sort of criteria that the 9 and 10 seeds have to be within a certain game limit to trigger the play-in, if you will? Because at 10 games apart, you can make the argument that it's really not fair to the Timberwolves to have to even compete in a play-in. They've done their thing. They've did the best they could do. They're winning games. They're playing some of the best basketball they've played in the last 5 years. So was it fair to the Timberwolves to have to be involved in a play-in? I can't make that argument as much for the Clippers because the Clippers are only about 5 games ahead of the Lakers. Like, it's a lot closer between those two teams. And then out east, it's not as bad either. Out east, you got the... Where we at? Yeah, it's a whole lot closer out east. The Raptors, yeah, they're 40-32, but the Hornets are 37-35. That's not as big as a gap. The Hawks are 36-36. It's not as big as a gap. So then you get in the conversation. Morgan, I hear you. Morgan says definitely. If there's that big of a gap between the 7 seed and the 10 seed, it's clearly not fair. Cam says the T-Wolves swept the Lakers this year. That's also very true. Cam also says Bron has to average 38, 10, and 12 for them to win, right? You get in the conversation of, is it fair, if you will, for the 7 seed, in this case the Timberwolves, who are playing so well, have been playing so well all season long, to have to be involved in the play-in tournament? And at first, I'll be honest, Morgan, I was kind of leaning your way. And then y'all always know I'm an NBA nerd. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'm listening to Kevin O'Connor on The Mismatch. I feel like I plugged him every week. Like, if y'all ain't listening to Mismatch yet, I highly encourage it. And he basically, his argument was the play-in is a good thing. And this is why. So if you're the 9 seed, you're the 10 seed, at this point in the conference, at this point in the NBA, at this point in the season, this late, with only like a month left, especially post All-Star break, when you realize, yeah, we ain't making it. Like, we're not gonna win enough games to make the 8 seed, let alone the 7 seed. You would go into tank mode. You would go in and let me rest my players mode. Let me just start looking towards the off season / next season. Same thing, honestly, for the 7 and 8 seed. Because if your gap is big enough, especially for the Minnesota Timberwolves, if your gap is big enough, you start to say, okay, let's shut down Towns. Let's shut down Ant. Let's shut down D'Lo for a couple of games here and there, because we can afford to lose them, because what does it matter? Because we're the 7 seed regardless. But what the play-in tournament does is what I think is interesting here is the Timberwolves can continue to win games to try to get to the 6 seed, so they're not even in the play-in tournament. The Lakers and the Lakers and Clippers? No, the Lakers and the who was in the 8? I just was looking at how I forget that fast. The Lakers and the Pelicans continue to try to win games because they're in the play-in. And I was agreeing with him to an extent. It definitely makes it, I think at least, the end of season games more enjoyable to watch for fans. Because we've seen it in years prior before the play-in tournament where come April, come late March, coaches sit their guys because it's like, this game doesn't matter, so I'm sitting my guys. But now with stuff like the play-in, especially for some of these lower seeds, they try a little harder. They want to play more games. They want to play in these games because they matter is what I mean to say. And then you have the argument of, well, I mean, is it really fair to the Timberwolves? Like, if they lose to the Clippers and if they lose again to the Lakers or Pelicans? And his argument, after I thought about it for a second, made a lot of sense. His argument was, if you're the 7th seed and you can't win 1 out of 2 games, you probably didn't deserve to be the 7th seed in the first place. And you probably weren't going to make that much noise in the first round of the playoffs. So give a different team an opportunity. And as harsh almost, or as cut and dry or cutthroat as that sounds, it makes a lot of sense to me. Because outside of, take away the net situation, because it's a very rare situation where a legitimate title contender is the 8th seed, let's be real. And that's really due to injury, COVID vaccine protocols, and James Harden not want to be a net. But in most cases, whoever's in the 8th seed, whoever's in the 7th seed, the 1 and 2 seeds are not worried about them. They're really, really not. Even low key in the Lakers' place, if the Lakers make it to the 8th seed or the 7th seed through the play-in, I don't really know if the Suns, Grizzlies are that worried about them because of how they've been playing this season. And maybe the Lakers is a little different because they have LeBron James, but honestly, I don't think anybody's worried about them. So at first I was like, do we need the play-in? Is the play-in necessary? It was introduced during, the COVID season, lockdown, missed all that time, give teams an opportunity to try to get back into the playoffs. Because we had a lot, you got to remember, the year they introduced the play-in, some of these teams were really close to being in there. Like the Pelicans were kind of close. The Trailblazers were in that mix. I remember the Western Conference being very, very close. And that's kind of sort of why they did it, to give these teams the opportunity to make the playoffs. And I saw so many people saying, do we need to play in? I don't know if the NBA necessarily needs the play in, but I like it. I do. I think it makes the games more enjoyable to watch down the end of the stretch. And single elimination games are fun to watch because teams are going to go all out. When those games happen, they're going to be fun to watch. We're all going to be tuned into the play-in tournament. We're all going to enjoy watching it because it's going to give the feel, the vibe of March Madness or NFL playoffs. That single game elimination is fun. And I think it'll be enjoyable to watch. Serge, my man, thank you for pulling up to the stream. Wow, man. You's a real one. You a real one for pulling up because I know it's like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. where you at right now. So I appreciate you for pulling up. We're just talking about the play-in right now. My opinions on it, because I saw a lot of people talking about, is it necessary? I see both sides of the argument, but I like it. I do like to play it a lot. Cam, except for the Suns, every team should definitely be a bit scared of playing the Lakers just because of LeBron. I mean, I get that. Just because LeBron, honestly, any team could be a little worried. 145, Jesus. Man, I appreciate you, bro. I really, really appreciate you. Thanks for pulling up to the stream. I hope you enjoy it. You know what I mean? I'm assuming you do because you're pulling up at 145. So I do appreciate that. And I'm happy you enjoy the streams. But yeah, and I think that's an interesting case. Getting back to Cam's point about the Lakers, because they have LeBron James, it's very similar to the argument I was making before Kyrie Irving was now ruled to be able to, play in all these home games. I don't see the Nets. I no longer see the Nets being a play-in team. Right. I no longer see the Nets being a play-in team. With Kyrie playing and looking at their schedule, who they have, playing coming up, they're no longer going to be a play-in team. They're just not. They're going to win some games. They're going to make it to the 6th seed. I really do think that, because when you look at who the 6th seed is now, they're 41-31. It's the Cavaliers. They got the Raptors ahead of them at 40-32. Let me pull this up for y'all. The Nets are sitting at 38-34. Did we go over the Nets schedule already? Did I show you how easy their schedule is? I think we did. Yeah, we did, because I already looked through this. But the Nets have a fairly easy schedule. I think they're going to win a lot. I think they're going to win a lot, if not most of these games. I'd be shocked if the Nets are still in the play-in by the end of the season. Like, truly, truly shocked. Especially considering they play the Cavaliers, which could potentially be one of the games that bumps them over the Cavaliers moving towards the end of the season. So just like how I was saying, I'm not counting out a team necessarily without Kevin Durant in the play-in tournament. I'm not necessarily counting out a team without LeBron James. Now, I think the Nets have a better overall team than the Lakers do. I think the Lakers got a lot of stuff to figure out in terms of the composition of the team, especially going into the offseason. But I like the play-in tournament. I said all that to say I like the play-in tournament. Rage, it's not a Hawks Hoop stream without Jason. Yeah, Jason didn't pull up. I think he's busy today. Might be working late or something. He's definitely missed. When I have to hit him up this week. Like I said, Jason, my boy in real life, so I'll have to hit him up this week and you know what I mean, tell him the chat was looking for him. Yeah, Cam, I say it all the time. Serge a real one, bro. Serge is a real one. Always pulling up from Serbia, my man. All right, couple more things on the docket. All right, we still got a little bit of time. We only been going for 45. What's next? What's next on here that I wrote down? I gotta play something for y'all. I just gotta play something for y'all. We gotta see this. We gotta see this together. I have to play something for y'all, right? So this was going around, and some of y'all probably already know where I'm going with this. You probably already know where I'm about to go with this. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Y'all know who I'm a fan of. Y'all know who I've been rooting for all season. So this went viral. This was going viral all day yesterday. It's got 2.6 million views on Twitter. Come on now. Look at this. Come on now. Come on now. Look, so that's yesterday's clip, right? And then today, you see this masterpiece. I don't really need no sound. Mind you, that's Corey Brewer. You feel me? Now, is Corey Brewer technically still in the league? I don't know if he's actually still in the league getting PT for the Pelicans, or he's part of their training/coaching staff. But you know what I mean? This little one-on-one against Corey Brewer, and clearly Zion looking at least a little bit all right? So Zion's now cleared to play one-on-ones. They just announced that, I want to say like literally earlier this morning, they announced that he's been cleared to go and start one-on-ones after practice. This is one of those one-on-ones he's been getting into after practice. Now, from what I can tell, unfortunately, I don't think he's coming back this season. Unfortunately, right? I don't think we'll see him back. According to this article from BR, Zion Williams reportedly not expected to return from injury this season. Then it goes down to say New Orleans Pelicans for Zion Williamson isn't expected to suit up for the team this season, according to the Athletic Shams, right? So Shams put out a tweet the other day basically saying he doesn't expect to see Zion back, according to reports. But it's at least nice to see I just read Cam's comment. That man preparing for New York. That caught me off guard. I ain't gonna cap. I just like seeing him on the court. You know, it's been so long that since we've seen him on the court, and it was so much conversation about his weight, his health, his injuries. People are asking me if he's the next Greg Oden, and I'm not ready to say anything like that yet. I'll be honest. I'm just not. I'm willing to give out a little bit more hope, because to be honest with you, I mean, I wasn't really making content back then, but I had hope for Greg Oden when he was suffering through his injuries, because I saw the skill. Greg Oden was very, very skilled. Greg Oden would have been very, very nice. Injuries just took a hold of him. And so because Greg Oden was so nice, and because Greg Oden looked like he could really be a really good big man for his time, I held out hope. And I see something similar in Zion. Honestly, I might even see more in Zion. I think he's going to be really good. And honestly, Cam, I know you're, kind of sort of joking with the whole New York thing. And I mean, a lot of people have said it's talks of him going to New York and stuff like that. But I really hope he stays in New Orleans. I think New Orleans has a really, really good team that they have the opportunity to build around him. I think the addition of CJ was really nice for them, like a low-key, semi-underrated pickup. And if by some miracle he can play in these last 2-3 games, if there's really no risk, like if they can come to the conclusion that there's 100% no risk of re-injury and he's 100% fine, even if it's just for like a game or two and it doesn't quote unquote matter, I hope just play him. Just play him. Please just play him. Because Serge, I agree. If he stays in New Orleans, they're going to be a dangerous team. Brandon Ingram is proving that he's an all-star caliber player in this league this season. He is nice. CJ, all-star caliber player in the league. He just happens to be a guard in the Western Conference. And, because before CJ got injured in the 2020 going into 2021 season, that's the year I thought he was going to make an all-star team. I really did. I had I was sure he was going to make an all-star team. I don't know who he was going to be over, but I was sure he was going to be an all-star. But then he got injured. Doesn't make the team. The Pelicans can be really, really, really good. Rage says, do not send him to Tibbs. I agree. I don't want Zion playing for Tibbs. I think Zion for the next couple of years, people are going to be worried about his health and keeping an eye on his health. Coaching staff's going to be keeping an eye on his health. Trainers, stuff like that. We know Tibbs likes to play his guys for 46, 48 minutes. You don't want Zion on that team. You don't want Zion playing for Tibbs. He's going to run him into the ground. I would rather go to the Lakers than the Knicks. I'm not going to the Lakers. If I'm Zion, I'm not going to the Lakers. It's just the reason if I'm Zion, I'm not going to the Lakers. You could maybe call it running from the smoke and stuff like that, but he's already got so much scrutiny on him just because he's already been crazy hyped. You go to the Lakers, you know how much hype you're gonna have then. And unless they do some wild roster overhaul, he doesn't even fit on the Lakers. Like, I don't even know how that would even work, to be completely honest with you. Cam, I agree they made some efforts after the offseason errors. Yeah, they made some efforts, I think, to put a good team there. And if he agrees with that and can see that, I like it. I like the team. I'm not working with Tibbs. I'm sorry. So I'm looking forward to it. I really hope Zion can play. I do. I don't know if it will happen, but a guy can dream. A couple more things on the docket, right? I saw this tweet. It bummed me out. I don't want to say it made me sad, but it made me sad. So this is from StatMuse, and this is the records. Oh yeah, Carrick, for sure. You can definitely call in. Phone lines is definitely open. 609-365-0382. Once again, 609-365-0382. Phone lines is definitely open. You know what I mean? As long as it's even, because sometimes I forget to like say it. But if you see the number on the screen, call in, bro. If the number's on the screen, that means the phone lines is open. So, real quick, I want to talk about these Chicago Bulls. They're 0-16 versus the top 3 teams in either conference. They cannot beat winning teams. It sucks to say. It's crazy to even think about, especially when you compare it to some of these other teams, the Kings, the Pistons, the Magic, the Rockets. Even they got a win, 2 wins from the Kings and the Pistons. But for them to have no wins at all, it's sad. Like, there's really no other word to say, because going into this season, I had high hopes for the Bulls. I really did. I don't know if I necessarily had them as title contenders, but I remember saying I at least had them as second rounders. At least. I just knew they were going to make the second round. But now, honestly, I don't know. And it's true. The Bulls have faced a lot of injuries this season. It's really been unfortunate. They faced a lot of injuries. Lonzo was still out. He's been out since January 14th. The initial timeline was 6 to 8 weeks, and at this point, it's definitely going to be longer than that. Because news just came out that they're going to sit him. He can't run basically for 10 days. He's still having issues with his knee. If you don't know, I had to look it up because he's been out for so long. I forgot what his initial injury was. He actually has a torn meniscus. He had surgery on that torn meniscus on January 28th. But now it's still hurting him. It's not really recovering the way they expected it to. And basically, he can't do anything for 10 days, which isn't a good sign at all. 10 days from now, guys, is April the 1st. The season is over April 10th. And yeah, Rage, that's my other argument I was just about to say. The only team I would say who's probably faced more injuries than the Bulls are the Miami Heat. Bam was out all of November and December. They had so many people in and out of lineup with COVID protocol. And the Heat, they never faltered. They never wavered. I think, honestly, that means that shows the depth of the Miami Heat, the coaching of the Miami Heat. I don't know. And then you start to have the conversation of, okay, so is the Bulls because they were injured? Is it because do they need to tweak a couple of things? Do they need to start looking to maybe make moves in the offseason to try to get better for next season? Because looking at just them lined up versus the other teams in the Eastern Conference, they're not title contenders. They're not. I think even healthy, like you bring back Lonzo, Caruso's just getting back in the lineup, but like I love Lonzo. Don't get me wrong. I love Lonzo. I think he's one of the better point guards in the league. I think he's an amazing playmaker. His shot I've praised his shot on record multiple times. And I think he's a really, really good perimeter defender. But he's not the missing piece that's going to take them over the top and make them title contenders. At least in my mind. So then you got to start to think what's next for the Bulls. Because they kind of sort of went all in. Like they kind of sort of went all in on this team. And I don't think it was a bad move. I think it was the right move to make. I think you had to prove to Zach LaVine that, hey, man, we realize you're nice. And we're ready to try to put a team around you to win games. To try to win a championship. Because, I mean, Zach had been there for a couple of seasons and they wasn't really doing nothing for him. And I think the main thing the Bulls are going to have to do, they're going to take a hard look at Nikola Vucevic. Because, I mean, I was looking at his numbers earlier today, and they're not bad. But I think the main thing, and this isn't even about his defense, because, I mean, going into the season, especially earlier in the season, I wanted more from him defensively, I'll say. I was skeptical of his defense, but he's become a better defender as the season's got along. He's not like amazing by any means, but he's gotten better than he was, in my opinion. And then if you just look at his numbers, quote unquote, he's not really that worse in his career. But when you look and see, okay, what he was doing in Orlando, and you can say, all right, now Hawk, but he was the number one guy in Orlando. No way. Of course, he's not putting up 23 points, 24 points. And I'm not expecting him to do that. But the thing that is glaring to me the most, his efficiency is dropping so much. The field goals percentage is still there in comparison to some of his other years, but I feel like he should be closer to this 48, like 48, 49, 50% from the field. And the most glaring thing to me is his 3-point percentage. Like he's got years here where he's shooting 40% from three on 6 shot attempts, 40% from three, 6 shot attempts, 36% from 3 shot attempts. Now he's down to 31% from three on almost 5 attempts. I think the Bulls got to take a hard look at Vucevic. Vucevic honestly has to probably take a hard look at himself and figure out what's going on with him. Like what's the problem here? Because for the shot the shot percentage to drop this drastically from just year to year, something's going on here. To go from 38% last year to 31% this year from three, and only shooting 1 less 3 a game, so you're still shooting them. Like the opportunities are still there, the offense is still there. They still want you to shoot the ball because DeMar DeRozan is not a crazy 3-point shooter, so having a big who can stretch the floor for him is perfect. That's what helps DeMar DeRozan's game so much. And it's just not there this year. It's just not. So Bulls, I don't know, man. Y'all got to figure something out. And the last thing I want to talk about is this clip. So I don't watch a lot of First Take. I'll admit, I haven't really watched a lot of First Take since probably high school. I used to see a lot of clips When I got home from school, throw ESPN on, and sometimes First Take would still be on, and I would see a lot of clips that way. But kind of since Skip Bayless left, I haven't seen a ton. I still like the Max Kellerman days. I was a little iffy on him at first, but after he had been there for a while, honestly, I was a fan of his. But this new guy, Mad Dog, I am not gonna hold you. I don't really know where he came from, what sport he's known for. Like, eventually I had to find out he's popular in the boxing world, you feel me? But Mad Dog Russo, I don't know where he's from. This is what he had to say on First Take. I want to say either yesterday or earlier today. Let me just go ahead and unmute this real quick.
He's better than Allen Iverson. I mean, because he makes a lot of people around him better. I mean, Iverson was a wonderful competitor, and he was he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not a transcendent star. He's not a guy that is going to make a cast of characters around him on this level. Morant can do that. Iverson was a poor shooter, and he was a bad three-point shooter, and he was not great if you look at his shooting percentages in the huge game. Now, listen, he's a Hall of Famer. Nobody's arguing that. He led the league in scoring, the whole 9 yards. Morant.
All right. So he goes on to continue. I'm not going to play the whole clip. You know what I mean? You play the whole clip on the ESPN joint, they're going to shut down the whole channel. You feel me? Can't play the whole clip. But you get the gist. So he went on to continue to talk about how Ja Morant is a way better player than Allen Iverson. And this ain't even got nothing to do with the take. For real. Like, I mean, if that's his opinion, that's his opinion. I don't agree with it. But my problem is with media heads like him, or even people with, huge followings saying wild takes like this online, is now my fear is, what's going to happen? People aren't going to realize that this guy's just insane. People aren't going to realize that this is a wild take for clips, for retweets, for people to talk about it like I'm talking about it. What's going to happen is, my fear is, at least, not going to say it's going to totally happen, but my fear is it's going to turn into let's just bash Ja to prove that he's not as good as Allen Iverson is. And I don't think that's the proper way to go about this, because I've already started to see it a little bit. I've already started to see, Ja can't do this, Ja can't do that, Ja can't do this, Ja can't do that, whatever. And Ja's having a really good season. Ja's a really good and extremely young, talented player. Ja's in his third year in the league, I'm pretty sure. So why are we comparing him to Allen Iverson's career, guys? Like, what is going on? I need NBA media to do better. You know what I mean? Or hire your boy, because that's why we doing this, because we tired of listening to stuff like that. You feel me? I just thought it was crazy. And when I saw the clip, I was like, wow, it absolutely made no sense to me to do that. So I'm gonna keep an eye out. I'm gonna keep my ear to the streets over the next couple of days as this clip continues to go viral. We'll see how viral it does go or doesn't go. Right now, it only has 61,000 views on Twitter, and it came out today at noon. The Zion clip got like double that, triple that, really. I just thought it was crazy to say. And maybe people are realizing this guy's insane. Honestly, I don't know where they found him from. I just had to get that off my chest. The last thing on the docket, I know I said that was the last thing, but the last real thing, right? I wanted to do an announcement during today's episode. And then you'll see it probably in some future TikToks and shorts and stuff like that later. But the whole point of this channel, right? The whole point of me posting on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, YouTube shorts, stuff like that. Simple concept. I want to talk basketball with you guys. That's why this show is live. Because I could honestly just talk for an hour, upload it, and that'd be it. People watch it, they don't, they don't. But my favorite part is when people pull up to the stream, talk live, people in the comments, going back and forth with people in the comments. Because even if I don't agree, I still like seeing and hearing other people's opinion about basketball. I just like talking about basketball. In all my bios, basically it says, I'm Hawk, let's talk hoops, right? Because that's what I want to do. Let's talk hoops. So I took that idea. I hadn't seen it in my head for weeks. I made some merch. I'm just gonna show it to you guys. You'll see it in future I gotta find it. You'll see it more in future shows, you know, as I'm wearing it and stuff like that. I gotta remember what I called it now. But it's a t-shirt, it's a hoodie. I just kind of wanted to show it off. And now I can't find it. I can't find my links. Some professional, right, guys? All right, let me log in. Bada. I'm not a robot. You know what I mean? Bada. Ba. And all right, now we finally got it. So it's a super simple look. The idea is just let's talk hoops. It's for people who like to talk about basketball, whatever. It's a simple hoodie. Let's talk hoops. It's got LTH on the back. That's the, you know, the logo, if you will. It says Hawks Hoops underneath. That's the hoodie look. We did a t-shirt with the little, you know what I mean, there. Little LTH on the back. And then we also did the long sleeve with the big Let's Talk Hoops. Once again, LTH on the back. And we did the sticker because I'm definitely copped the sticker to throw on the back of my Mac. You know, just, you know, slap on different stuff. I'm going to, so this is the merch, you know what I mean? Like I said, I planned on being able to wear it today. They're playing with me. Me and my boy bought it at the same time. Like, cause I told him about it. He was like, oh, that's dope. You know what I mean? He bought the hoodie. He got his hoodie on Monday. Mind you, we live like 10 minutes from each other. So if he got his on Monday, today Wednesday, I feel like I should have had mine by now. And considering I'm the one who made the merch and set up the merch shop, how you messing my order up? So I'm gonna hit up Spreadshirt to figure out what's going on. Hopefully I have it by next week, so you'll be able to see it in the show, and I'll probably start wearing them more often in the show and the shorts and the TikToks and stuff like that. And once I have them in, I'll probably upload a short, you know, showcasing, showing it off, and sharing out the link. Serge, do you ship merch to Serbia? It's through Spreadshirt. They might ship to Serbia. I don't know. We'll have to look into that. You feel me? Carrot Clean, appreciate you. Triple OG, how you doing, bro? I'm here. Difficult day with homework, but I'm here. Hey, man, appreciate you for pulling up. Appreciate you for pulling up to the stream. So yeah, that's what it looks like. Hold on 1 second, and so y'all can see it, and that way y'all have it. I'm trying. Hold on, let me see. Oop. They might ship to Canada, Carrick. I want to say Spreadshirt at least ships to Canada. Hold on, I got the link. Give me half a second. I got the link because I texted it to myself. That's how I know I have the link. Hold on now. There we go. Copy. Paste. Nope, that's not what I want. Copy. Nope. About to ask my fam for this. My outfit gonna be fire. Hey, appreciate you, my boy. All right. See what I mean? There's the link. That's all I kind of wanted to show you guys. I'll pull it back up so you can see it. So this is what chair fell again. This is what it would actually look like when you pull up to the shop. You'll see the sticker there. You'll see the 3 hoodie designs. In the future, we might do like different colors and stuff like that. But for the start, I was like, well, let's just do black. Who doesn't like a black shirt? Who doesn't like a black hoodie with some white lettering? Pretty chill, pretty clean, pretty simple. And when I have it, you know what I mean, you'll see it on me and stuff like that. But my boy has it. I saw his hoodie in person. He said it fits really, really good, true to size, stuff like that. And but yeah, I just really wanted to share that with you guys. You'll see it in the content moving forward. I literally have been seeing this idea like in my sleep for days. So I was like, I gotta create it and just put it out there. But thank y'all so much for pulling up to the stream. It's been a really, really good stream. We've been going, you know what I mean, live for hour 10. Always appreciate when y'all pull up. It's always good to talk hoops with y'all. I will see y'all next week. And I'm out of here. I'm going to see if my Sixers won. I'm assuming we did, but I'm going to go see if my Sixers won. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Peace.